Hey, love, I just wanted to start by saying this. You're not broken, you're not behind, you're not too late. You've just been living out a story that was never fully yours to begin with. And that story, it may have been passed down, it may have been shaped by pain, but it's not permanent. You have the power to define what happens next. And that's what we're going to be doing here, right now. We'll be breaking this down into three basic parts, all in one video, but in a way that's more digestible in a way. So you can take breaks between each part or watch it all the way through. In this first part, I'm going to be kind of slowing it down and I'm going to show you how the story you've been living in is influencing your habits, your energy, your success, and how to begin shifting that story into something that actually reflects who you're meant to be. So let's get right into it. What is a life sentence? It's, in a sense, it's something that it's a phrase that you've kind of learned how to believe over time. And it's something that you put on your life and you tell yourself every day. So it's been internalized as a fact, kind of like, oh, I'm not consistent. Oh, I've always been anxious. Oh, I'm just not built for success. Or, oh, no one in my family has ever done this. And it's really interesting because these often become our operating systems. It's how we go about things with these stories we tell ourselves. And the bottom line is that they don't actually define us. They don't really even fit into who we're supposed to become or who we really are. And I think that's something that not many people actually realize. It changes your inner narrative, inevitably, and it changes how you look at your life, whether something bad happens or something good happens. It's kind of like if you have that little life sentence and you don't even recognize that that's what it is, sometimes you'll go through some good stuff and be like, oh, it won't last. It never does, or whatever. It's those type of things. And it's those exact limiting beliefs and life sentences that hold you back. And so today we're going to be working on shifting that back to, in a way, ignoring those. Kind of. There's no words to actually describe what we're doing, but it's super interesting because most of the time you don't even realize you have them until you start recognizing them. But the thing is, most of the time they come from your childhood, they come from trauma, they come from your culture, who you're surrounded with. Even comparison, when you see somebody, you're like, oh, they have this. I don't have that. It builds these life sentences that you put on your life and make it so hard for you to show up the way you're originally supposed to or the way you were built to. Just because, okay, wow, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Anyway, I do want to mention though that just because you learned it doesn't mean that you have to live it forever. Just because it's something that you've always done doesn't mean it's not something you can't change. And so I'm gonna fix this. This is bothering me. We're gonna change it. And we're gonna look at it in a different light because inevitably this is not our story. This is not how things are even supposed to be. It's just ideas and life sentences that you've put on yourself that really do not define you. Your brain filters reality to match the story it believes. When you constantly believe that you can't do something or that you're just not equipped to be able to do something, your brain's going to change things and filter reality to reflect that. So yeah, you say, oh, I'm not good with money, you're not going to be good with money. Or, oh, I'm just not good at this. Okay, so you won't be. It's in a way, it's the law of attraction, if you guys know anything about that. And I'm not saying this to like be mean or anything. I've done the exact same thing and I've learned from this. And that's the reason why I started with this topic specifically. But it's because you don't belong in that zone. You belong in a place that you're able to feel at home not only with yourself, but your circumstances and what goes on. Because inevitably you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you look at it and you can control how you react to it. And so it's kind of that realization. If you believe something like you're inconsistent, you're subconsciously kind of reset the structure or commitment. Wow, I worded that weird. I have notes over here just so I don't like go completely off track. But if you believe that you're constantly inconsistent, you subconsciously reset structure or commitment to stay consistent with the story that you've been telling yourself. That makes a lot more sense. Sorry about that. What you expect, you create, though. When you expect yourself not to succeed, not to win, not to grow and become the person you were always meant to be, that's exactly what happens. And it's, again, back to the law of attraction. It's kind of oh, you're telling God and the universe that this is what you believe and this is kind of what you're supposed to be. And they're like, oh, okay. Because it's always a yes, especially with the universe. And so when you look at it in that way, you realize that it's not necessarily always, there's no words to describe it. I wish my brain would like function the way I want to, because I have a lot I want to say. But you expect what you create. What you expect, you create. So if you sit back and you kind of expect yourself to lose, and you do lose, doesn't that mean you technically won because you got exactly what you expected? That's something I actually heard on Instagram, which is all over the place, but you don't attract what you want, you attract what you believe you are. And what you believe you are is your identity essentially is. But your identity leads to your actions, and your actions lead to your results. And so, kind of who you say you are, if you're like, oh, I'm lazy, or oh, just all these things in these life sentences, then that'll lead to your actions. If you believe you're lazy, you're going to be lazy and you're not going to show up for yourself. And that'll lead to inevitably not even failing because you're succeeding at what you believed, but getting exactly what you wanted or what you're telling the universe you wanted. And I don't think many people realize that that's actually what's happening, but it is. And it's kind of crazy. A moment, I've done this a lot, and I mean, I can't really say much because I've definitely lived in these life sentences. One of the ones was when I was younger. It was actually even just a few years ago. I had believed that my life sentence was kind of, and this is actually really hard for me to talk about. I'm not sure there's much I can say, but I believed that kind of I wasn't worthy of love in a way. And it actually stemmed a lot from my childhood and the way I was raised. And it wasn't from my mom or anything. She tried her best, and I knew that. But my dad's family, my dad's side, they never made me feel like I was worthy of being this person. And I was such a people pleaser when I was growing up. And it became this life sentence, and so I carried it with me absolutely everywhere. But I learned how to shift out of that when I decided to look at myself from who I wanted to become. I saw exactly what I was capable of. And I held on to that with absolutely everything inside me. And I did not let it go. I refused to let it go, in fact. And it came down to the fact that I was so ready to become this person that nothing else was going to hold me back. I started telling myself that I was capable of so much more. I reminded myself that I felt success in my bones and that I knew I was meant for more. And that's where it got super, super powerful. In the beginning, it was hard. I felt stuck a lot. But as you move through it, you kind of get into this feeling and this emotion and this vulnerability state where you're like, oh, that was never meant for me. And it's honestly so heartbreaking to look back and be like, oh, I believe that? Because that's so not true. Like, I don't understand how I could have believed something even close to that. Because now I know it's not true, and I'm holding on to that. Sorry, I don't know if you can actually hear that. There's an airplane going over. Anyway, sorry, distraction. I didn't realize that was something that I could have ever felt until I shifted out of it and I realized that that's what it was. That was my life sentence, and that's something that I'm even still today working to make sure I let go of completely. And it's not easy. I'm still working on it. And there's moments where it comes up, but I like to kind of remember that you're not your past. Your past does not define you. What happened in the past does not make you who you are. It helps shape you into the person you're going to become by pushing you through hard things and helping you to step up and become that person who you're supposed to be. But it doesn't inevitably define you. And in the end, it honestly doesn't remember. But I want to remind you that just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's right for you. It's what I like to call a toxic safe place. It's where you go back and you lean into this because it's comfortable. It's what you know most. And it's not necessarily actually safe. And it's not good for you, which is why it's the toxic safe place. You don't belong there, but you go back to it because it's familiar. But what's familiar isn't always right for you. Letting go of your old story, it's not bad. It's not hard even. It's alignment. It's stepping into who you were always meant to become and not letting what happened to you in your past really have a hold on you in a way. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to choose a new truth. And the hardest part is that you got to be willing to choose that new truth every single time that the old problems step up. And that the old, really everything comes up. And you have to remember that these old life sentences, what you've been telling yourself, what you've lived, it doesn't define you. It's not helping you. It's okay to let those things go. In fact, I want you to switch them. I want you to start creating new life sentences, but I want you to flip it. I want it to be good things like, oh, success finds me no matter what I'm doing or where I'm going. Or I always know exactly what to say. Or I believe I am meant for so much more. And everything I go through is pushing me towards that. That is one of my favorite ones to use, honestly. And hold on to that, because in the end, it's not what you've been, what you've been through does not define you, like I said. And I mean, I know I'm kind of rambling here, but it doesn't define you. I want you guys to do something. So I want you to pause this video here in just a second. And I want you to grab a journal and I want you to journal this. It is, What story have I been living that I'm ready to rewrite starting today? We're starting this right now. Not tomorrow, not the next day, not next week, right now. So if you're seeing this, write that down. What story have you been living that you're ready to rewrite starting today? Go deep into it, fill into it, and don't let yourself kind of be held back by your past. Step into this new power because you are so worthy of it. And I really hope that you guys take the opportunity to understand that it's not your fault. It's something you probably got passed down for. And it's guaranteed not your parents' fault or their parents' fault. It's just a learned behavior and a trait that we continuously hold on to because it's easier. It's a toxic safe place, and it's something that makes the most sense. It's familiar. So go pause this video and journal what story you've been living and what you're ready to start rewriting today. Starting today. That was worded really weird. Anyway, we're going to go into the next part, so I will see you guys there. Now that you've seen the story you've been living, it's time to write a new one. This part is all about the identity shift, not just changing what you do, but changing who you see yourself as. Because until you become the version of you who's ready for more, you'll keep repeating what's familiar, even if it hurts. So, let's talk about how to shift your story from the inside out. This one is kind of crazy, so also, welcome to part 2. Survival identity versus aligned identity. Survival identity is kind of built on the fear, lack, improving. It's built on fear, lack / improving. For example, you hustle because you're scared of being behind. Or I play small because I'm scared of being seen. This is one that I used to use all the time. In fact, even just a few months ago, I was still very scared of being seen. I still kind of am a little bit. I mean, I'm working on it for sure. But I would wear baggy clothes all the time, which I mean, I do. Now it's more just because it's comfortable. It's familiar. And I didn't like posting videos or seeing myself on camera or anything. And now, I mean, I'm seeing myself on camera and posting videos at the same time. That's pretty cool, actually. But you talk about give me a second. Your survival identity is kind of built off of that fear. It's, for me, like I said, I played small because I was scared of being seen. I wasn't showing up for myself the way I needed to because I didn't want people to recognize me. And in a way, I was more scared of success than I was of failing, which I mean, it definitely sounds weird. But the cool part is that when you step into that aligned identity, it's built on overflow, truth, and magnetism. Like, you move because you're led to. I create because I'm already worthy. And the super cool part about that is that once you flip that script and you learn how to move within overflow and truth and magnetism, and you start looking at things in a way of being led to them, it changes absolutely everything. Because I mean, that's one thing that worked really well for me. I was terrified of who I was supposed to become, or who I thought I wanted to become, but it wasn't necessarily who I wanted to become. It was who society, in a way, told me I should become. And that all shifted and changed when I learned not to play small because of being scared, but by using that as the reason I don't play small, because I'm scared. Because when you're scared, or at least for me, what I use is when I'm scared, it is a definite sign that I'm headed in the right direction. And that's exactly what I used. And it's exactly what I did. Because I showed up and was able to show up in a way that didn't make sense to me at the time. Like, I didn't understand it even. But it was so easy to become part of in a way. Use your aligned identity. Get used to being an overflow. Get used to the magnetism. Move because you're led to, not because you have to. And that's exactly what I'm doing here today. I wasn't even going to do a mini course or a mini free course, which is what this is. But something told me that I needed to. That someone out there would need this and they weren't ready to jump into the full course, which I mean, I will definitely go into later. But your actions will always reflect who you believe you are deep down. You have to let go of what you used to think. And I know we talked a lot about this in the first part, but I want you to realize how important it is. Because if you still see yourself as the girl who always quits, you'll find a way to stop showing up, to stay consistent with that belief. And you'll use that almost as a crutch in a way. I know this because I've done the same. And it honestly sucks. It's not who you are. You don't have to hold on to who you used to be. You're not the girl who always quits, or the girl who never gets it right, or the girl who never does anything that isn't enough. And you're definitely not the girl that's too much. You gotta stop holding on to these old beliefs. And I know we talked about it before, but when you start kind of rewriting your story, the first thing you have to kind of get comfortable with is realizing that your past does not define you. I mean, I mentioned that already. But who you believed you used to be also doesn't. She's not who's going to push you forward. She had the strength to kind of realize that that's what she was doing. But it's this new version of you that you're rewriting that's going to push you even further. The goal isn't to force new habits. It never has been. It's to adopt a new identity that naturally lives them out. It's adopting the person who was always ready for more. Like I said earlier, that I used to play small because it was easier than being seen, in my opinion. And I know that has a lot to do with an old limiting belief I had, or old life sentence I had, of where I didn't think I would ever be enough. That's inevitably not true. And it's crazy. Because maybe it's just a shift from needing external validation to showing up from overflow. But there's something so crazy magical about how you get to show up for yourself and step into this new person who you'll eventually realize was already inside of you. She was waiting for you. She's probably in there right now. In fact, I know she is. She's just waiting for you to step into the power and realize that you're meant for more. She's waiting for you to realize that you were always good enough. It's not about, oh, if I do this, then I'll be good enough. No, you already are good enough. And you're good enough to the point where that person is waiting for you. Who you're supposed to become is already inside of you. You just have to let her come out. And I know that's a lot easier said than done, because I'm still working on that. I'm still becoming the person that I was always meant to be. But something I want to remind you is I want you to enjoy the being while you're becoming. Enjoy being who you are as you're becoming the person you were always meant to be. And that is the coolest way I can look at it. or even say it. But I do have to say that the people around you won't always get it. And they probably still won't. But it comes down to you knowing it's time to change. It's you knowing that who you're becoming is who you were always supposed to be, and that you are worthy of so much more. You can't build a powerful life from a powerless identity. You're changing absolutely everything right now. And it's going to be really scary because I know it's kind of scary for me. I'm going to fix this brightness so you can actually see me. Anyway, it's scary for me because I have to show up for myself too. I'm right here with you guys. Like, I'm learning this right as I'm speaking it. Not even speaking it, but teaching it. And that's the coolest part because you don't have to do it alone. You get to do it with me by your side. And I absolutely love that. But again, you can't build a powerful life from a powerless identity. I want you to declare the new versions of you, even if it feels new or scary or something. What I mean by declare the new version of you is I want you to speak it into existence in a way. I want you to be like, let me see if I can actually find a good example of this. I want you to say, I love being seen. I am powerful. Anything along that line. I want you to flip that script like we were kind of talking about in the first part too. And I want you to declare the new version of you. Something that I like to do is I like to write a story almost as if it's already happened or I'm already living that. And so I'll write down my deepest desires, but I'll write them down as though I already have them. And it's the coolest thing. I'm actually going to do this little project here and just after this class because I've been thinking about it for a while. I wasn't even going to mention this, but I'm going to be writing a letter to my future self because I know exactly where I want to be and I know exactly where I want to end up. But I'm going to write a letter to her. I'm going to seal it up. If you hear dogs barking in the background, this is real life. I am at my grandmother's house and her dogs like talking. So just sorry about that. I don't know if you can even hear them, but I can. And it's a little distracting. Just, okay. Yeah. Anyway. I'm going to write a story to, not a story, I'm going to write a letter to my future self. And in the letter, I'm going to just say how proud I am of her. And I'm going to seal it up. And when I get to where I already know I'm going, I'm going to open that letter and I'm going to reread it to myself. And I can already tell you that it's going to be one of the most powerful things I ever do. And so I want to invite you guys to do the same. I want to invite you to write a letter to your future, who you're going to become, how you're going to look at life, all these things. It's not about faking it till you make it. It's about learning to be while you're becoming, like I mentioned already. Learning to be okay with showing up in this new way while you're becoming the person you are always made to be. It takes a lot of work. And sometimes it'll probably feel like you're faking it till you make it. But learn to be while you're becoming. Learn to enjoy being while you're becoming, I should say. I've got another reflection prompt for you. This is kind of a 2-part one, and it's a little journaling thing. So again, make sure you still have your journal. Open it up to a nice new page, or you could even do it on the same page. It doesn't matter. But after this, I want you to pause it. The reflection prompt is, what would change if I stopped trying to fix myself and started building from who I am becoming instead? And then the second part is, who is that version of me? And what does she already believe about herself? Again, declare that this new version of you is who you're becoming. Declaration, man. declaration. Anyway, go journal that. We're going to go into part 3 here in just a second. I'm going to turn on some lights, and I will see you guys there. Now that you've seen your old story and declared the new one, the only thing that's left to do is to walk in it. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need permission. You just need to move in faith and alignment and trust that this version of you is real right now. I want you guys to remember that it's more about embodiment over forcing habits. You don't have to have everything at once. You don't need it all today. I want you guys to start today, but you don't need to have it all figured out right this second. And I think that's a big misconception that a lot of people don't even realize that they're doing, is they want it all right now, or they want to control how it happens. And the bottom line is that that's most of the time not even the case, and you're not gonna have everything all at once, and you can't control it. As kind of sucky as that is, I mean, to an extent. I'm gonna be honest with you guys for a second here. I started recording this, I think it was Sunday. Might have been Saturday. No, it was Sunday. Saturday? One of the days. I let it sit for 1 or 2 days because I wasn't feeling this last part. And it's not even that I didn't want to do it. In fact, I really wanted to, but my energy was off enough that I didn't want to put that on you guys. And it wasn't even anything serious. It's more just exhaustion and tiredness. And that proves that I still have a little bit of work to do, just simply because I'm showing up for myself now too. I'm doing something so different. And I'm putting all of that soul, all of that energy, all of that heart into this work. And it's the coolest thing I could ever do. It's not about doing everything at once, like I said. But what it is about is asking yourself, what would the version of me who already believes this do today? What would the version of me who already has this life do? How is she stepping up and showing up for herself? How can I be more like her? What I like to think of it is as, wow, English words are tough. Anyway, what I like to think of it is as, I did it again. Anyway, I said anyway a lot. Okay. What I like to think of it is as, give me a second. I like to think of it in a way that it's kind of like you're embodying your future self and who she is, who she becomes, when you ask yourself this question specifically, just because at that point you're going to start thinking a little different. You're not going to be thinking about your today's self. And that part's super, super important, just simply because when you're stuck in today or who you are right this second, you can't think exactly like the person you're going to become. And it's going to be a lot harder to shift your energy in that way to become her and to show up the way that she shows up. And I don't know, I think that's kind of the cool thing. I want you guys to show up from the story you're stepping into, not the one you're trying to escape. And that's kind of what I'm trying to say right now. Show up as the person you want to become. And a good way to do that is by asking yourself that question. What would the version of me who already believes this, has this, does this, do right now in this situation? What I was trying to say earlier is that a good practice you can do is when you are in a hard situation and you can't seem to get your mind straight, you don't know what to do, ask yourself, what would the version of me who has it all figured out do in this situation specifically? And then I want you to do that thing. I had to do this weekend, actually. Not even this weekend, yesterday too. Because yesterday I was supposed to finish filming this and I didn't get to. Not that I didn't get to. I didn't feel like I could. And so I had to ask myself, what would the version of me who already has it all figured out, who already knows exactly what's going on, who already has the dream clients, what would she do? What I came up with is that I was drained. I've been pushing myself fairly hard. And what I really needed was a second to step back. And I needed time to be. I'm somebody that needs alone time constantly. Like I need alone time. I need to be alone. I thrive off of being alone. But I also love my people and I want to be around my people. And so it's learning how to balance that while still putting in the work I need to put in. And it's I don't know, it's interesting. But it's the little things that matter because it's the small aligned actions that reinforce the belief of yourself. Whether it's a morning walk, journaling, eating in a way that fuels you and feels good, it doesn't hold you down or feel heavy. Or even just investing time into your future. Like for me right now, I am investing time into my future. That is exactly what I'm doing. In fact, the only things I do are things that I know will help me in the long run. So it comes down to either doing things that, where's my mic? Anyway, either doing things that are in a way fueling my soul. So walks, journaling, prayer, meditation, anything like that. Fueling my body, making good food, going grocery shopping, finding what makes me feel good, along with going to the gym, working out, which also helps my mind and my body. My future, so this work, what I'm doing here, and then my soul. And my soul's the one that probably gets neglected the most, but we're working on it. We're going with it. And for that, I rest. I learn to sit and be okay with not doing much. I let myself have a day or two where I'm not pressuring myself to do anything. I'll go to the gym, I'll do a light workout, I'll feel into it. I won't push too hard. It doesn't have to be something that I do for like an hour, hour and a half like I normally do. And then I'll do a little massage. I go to Planet Fitness, and so Black Card membership, if you know, you know. Go and do a little massage, feel into it, and just have a day that's purely for resting my soul. And I've been kind of bad about that. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. But the more I do it and the more time I give to my soul, at least once to twice a week. Sorry, that was gross. Dog hair. You gotta love it. But putting yourself in a place that kind of pushes you to heal your soul. Because your soul has very specific requirements, and most of the time we neglect them. And it tires us out, it burns us out, it makes it a lot harder to do the work that we already know we're meant to do. And I think that's the interesting thing. So do the little things, whether it's a night face mask, a date night with yourself. Like I take myself out to dinner every once in a while, and it is so much fun. Time with your family, time alone, go on a hike, go on a drive, something that feels good to your soul. It makes you feel alive, because that is where we are missing one of the biggest parts of this whole thing. These actions don't just create results, they reinforce the identity that you shifted into. And so what I like to think of it as is that as I do these things, I'm not only helping my current self, but I'm fueling the person I want to become. And I'm shifting into that identity even further. And that is the coolest part, because if we remember that and if we use that as kind of a tethering point, not even that, that's not the right word. If we use that as what kind of pulls us forward in a way, it's gonna just continue to reinforce that identity that we shifted into. It's gonna make things so much easier, and you won't be getting drained, you won't burn out I mean, you can tell I haven't been the best at it because I had a little burnout session, 2 days without doing much work. But the thing is, once you recognize those things and once you start seeing them and seeing those little habits, it's going to be so much easier to step into the power of who you're becoming and the habits of who she is and what she does. And that's the super important part. You don't need to fix yourself. You're already becoming the person you were always meant to become. And something that I heard the other day was that if it was given to you, if this dream was given to you from God, the universe, whatever you believe, then there is absolutely no way, nothing can stop you from obtaining that and becoming who that person is. And that was such a good reminder to me the other day, because those slow days where you don't feel like doing much, it's oftentimes a little reminder that your soul needs something. And so learn how to channel into that, because that is going to make or break you. Like, I'm not even kidding. That is something that I've struggled with for a while, and I still kind of am every once in a while. But the more you learn to listen to your soul and give it what it needs, that's how much easier it's going to be to push forward, do the work you need to do, stay in alignment, and not burn out. That is the coolest part. I keep saying that. This all is the coolest part. This whole class. I am way too hyped. This is awesome. Anyway, I want to remind you guys something. You're not doing this alone. You weren't created to carry the whole weight yourself. And I think that's one mistake that, I know I make that one. But you don't have to carry it all yourself. You don't have to do it all alone. You can grow and change. And you can think you need to do it all yourself, but you were never meant to. Have friends. Get them involved in this. Push each other to grow and change in all the ways, and hold each other accountable, because honestly, it's one of the best things you can do. That is one thing that I wish I did different when I started this, because I thought I needed to do it alone. But that was never the case. I didn't need to do it alone. I didn't have to be alone, and I didn't have to handle everything myself. And neither do you. You're allowed to have good people that help you, that hold you accountable, and that hold you when you fall. People that pick you up. You don't have to carry the whole, you weren't created to carry the whole weight yourself. I want to encourage you guys to lean into God, the universe, the divine guidance, whatever you believe in, that's been pulling you forward through journaling or meditation or prayer or whatever makes you feel best. Even if you just go on a walk, lay in the grass, smell flowers, listen to the birds or the wind, whatever connects you to that divine power, no matter what you believe, I want you to lean into that. I want you to lean into them, because that's what's going to fuel you a lot more than anything. And that's one thing that I've had to go to repeatedly to get myself to do what I'm doing now. And it's not always easy, and I don't always want to, but it's such a necessary part. And it's a good reminder to yourself that you don't have to do it alone. For me, I do it with God, because that's what I believe, and I already know that I'm being guided. There's no way that this won't work out in the end. And that is where my strength comes from. That is where my persistence comes from. And that's where I know that for some reason, I just know that everything's going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to. And that cuts out a lot of work, honestly. If this was placed on your heart, it was never random. It was assigned. And if you're here, if you're listening to this, if you've gotten this far, I guarantee you it's not random. It was assigned. And this is going to help you to become the person you were made to be. And if it hasn't already changed a lot of things in your mind already. I want you to do something. I want you to commit to one small action today that matches your new story, that matches the person you're becoming, that matches who you're going to shift into, how she's going to react, how she's going to do things. Commit to one small action today. It doesn't have to be big. The small things matter too. But this journey doesn't have to be done alone. And I want you to remember that. So that's 2 things. Commit to one small action today that matches your new story. And remember that you don't have to do it alone. Whether you go to God, the universe, the divine guidance, a friend, family, somebody you care about, anyone, you don't have to do it alone. It's never meant to be alone. If this has opened up something for you and you're ready to go deeper or feel into this a lot stronger, this is similar to what you'd experience in magnetic mastery. And so if this is something that you feel deeply about and you feel called to expand even more, I want you to either DM me or comment magnetic on Instagram, preferably. I'm going to put that down in the caption probably. But that's where the full transformation begins. And that is where the full transformation begins. You're not doing this alone. You're doing such an amazing job and you're showing up in ways that you probably never have before. And it looks amazing on you. I am so proud of you. We've got last little reflection prompts to go over. And then we'll finish up this little mini course. So let's get right into it. So there's 2 of them. The 2 reflection prompts, make sure you have your journal, is what's one small action I can take today that supports the story I'm becoming? I'm going to say it again just to make sure you guys get it. What's one small action I can take today that supports the story I'm becoming? And the second one is, and what would it look like to walk with trust instead of fear from now on? And those are the last little things. So we're going to go into the outro, and I love you. Just so you know, you're doing such an amazing job. And I can't wait to see how you grow and change. Tag me in things. Talk to me. I want to hear it all. I want you guys to take a breath with me for a second. Take a second to breathe in and breathe out. Today, you didn't just listen to a course. You didn't just listen to this course, I should say. You shifted something. Maybe it was belief. Maybe it was a pattern. Or maybe it was the first time in a long time that you've truly felt like, I know who I want to become, and I'm ready to become her. This work doesn't end here, though. This is just the beginning. If you're feeling the pull, if you're ready to go deeper, fully rewrite your story and become the version of you that doesn't question her worth anymore, this is exactly what magnetic mastery is for, was built for. It's the full transformation, the deeper shifts, the step-by-step identity work that changed my life. And now I get to help other women do the same. It's everything that I put my heart and soul into the last 5 years almost. And I want to help you do the same. If that feels aligned, you can DM me magnetic on Instagram, preferably. Keep saying that. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I'll put my Instagram somewhere. And I'll send you the details personally. But even if all you take from this is a reminder that you're already enough and that your story is still being written, that is more than enough for me. I couldn't have asked for anything else, honestly. I am so proud of you. Keep becoming her. And I'll see you very, very soon. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for being here on this mini journey. And I will see you guys in the next little whatever we do. Because, who's a freak knows? We're going to do some big stuff, me and you.